Normally at TFL, we like to mash vehicles up. You know, take two different vehicles that don't necessarily compete and put them up against each other, apples to oranges, so to speak. Well, today we have a true TFL car matchup because to my right is the 2014 Lincoln Navigator and to my left, that's the 2015 model. Of course, the front is obviously different, but there is one big difference, and that is coming up next on the Fast Lane Car. Under the hood of the 2014 model is, of course, a ruddy big American V8. 5.4 liters of V8 goodness, 310 horsepower, 365 pound-foot of torque, and get this, it gets 14 miles in the city and 20 miles on the highway. But the times are changing because what's under the hood of the 2015 model may surprise you. So check it out, no more old architecture V8 like in the 2014 model. Instead, we got an EcoBoost, 3.5 liter, 380 horsepower, 460 pound-foot of torque, twin turbocharged EcoBoost. And in the two-wheel drive model, it gets 16 miles in the city and 22 in the highway. So you get more power, you get more torque, and you get better fuel economy. That is certainly a vast improvement. This is a 2014 model, just like the GM twins, the Yukon, and of course the Escalade, can be configured in a regular and a long version, a 7-passenger or an 8-passenger version. Come on with me over here to the new one. And of course, not to be outdone by GM, and it's America of course, you can easily lower the seats, both of them, at the touch of a button, giving you ample room for all kinds of stuff, golf clubs, maybe a refrigerator, and best of all, with the push of a button, you can close the tailgate, and instead of the Navigator badge being there, it's now over here with the proud twin turbo EcoBoost badge on the back of your brand new 2015 Navigator. I am now in the 2014 Lincoln Navigator, and this is certainly your father's Navigator. It feels pretty dated now. It feels kind of luxurious in that old school American sort of way where size represented luxury instead of the diamond-like details, because there are not a lot of diamond-like details. There are soft touch materials in here. Everything has a sense of quality to it, like it's put together well, but there's nothing that's, you know, bespoken, nothing that pops out and says, wow, these guys have really had some craftsmanship put into it. It's all kind of Ford premium, if you know what I mean. And I'm hoping that once I get behind the wheel of the 2015 model, that impression changes, that all of a sudden it goes from being Ford premium to something very special. And I've got a Ford V8 does sound good. There is a good kick in the butt, but I'm betting that EcoBoost is going to be even faster. Oh my, oh my. Good thing I'm wearing sunglasses. That is a lot of chrome on the 2014 model. The 2015 model, at least to my eye, looks much more modern, much more youthful, dare I say. This has the new corporate Lincoln grille, and of course it has these really cool LED lights that are now basically the jewelry of any new vehicle. I also noticed one of the differences, obviously, is the use of LEDs.
Yes.
You said 220?
222.
220.
So, to be very specific.
Yes.
So on the exterior,
engineer.
on the exterior lighting of the vehicle, for both the front and the rear lighting, we wanted to make sure that as we're using our LEDs, as we're giving its jewelry, that we did whatever it took to deliver that beautiful jewelry feature for the customer. And, you know, it's a larger vehicle, and we wanted to look harmonious and beautiful, and the number ended up being kind of a large number, but whatever it took.
The car hustles down the road in a very comfortable, very controlled manner. It's very quiet. A little bit of wind noise, but not a lot. Seating position is tall. You know, for you've been watching TFL for a while, you know that we have an old Lincoln Continental, the Diamond Jubilee Edition, and last year we set about restoring it. We call that video the Diamond in the Rough, and there's a lot of echoes of that car in here. I'm looking at these temperature controls. They're very similar to that. It still has that 1970s Lincoln feel to it, and you know, at some point that's probably not a good thing. You want to reinvent yourself as a brand. Size-wise, the 2014 model and the 2015 Navigator are identical. But here's something interesting. If you were to compare this to, say, the Yukon, which it definitely competes against, this has 103 cubic feet of cargo room versus 94 in the Yukon. So this is definitely bigger. I'm now in the 2015 Navigator, and immediately I am struck by a sense of style and elegance that is completely missing in the 2014 model. This feels much more luxurious. The wood in the steering wheel, actually a fatter steering wheel, the softer leather, the French stitching, the simplified yet more elegant central stack. It all makes this car feel much more expensive. The problem with the 2014 is it felt like a premium Ford. This feels like a Lincoln, which is good because you want Lincoln to be its own brand. You don't want it just to be a car that's a rebranded Ford. And this definitely feels like it's more of its own vehicle. Now, I'm curious about the power because I think we got about 70 more horsepower in this vehicle. So, you know what? When I make this turn, let's give it the beans. Let's see what this feels like compared to the other car. Here we go. And twin turbo. Oh! Immediately. Less roar, more forward motion. Oh, yeah. Much more alive, much more lively. It doesn't feel as ponderous, doesn't feel as heavy, doesn't feel as slow-witted in a lot of ways. You know, a lot of people use these to tow horses, boats, toys, whatever. But there's also good news with the new, actually over here, with the new 2015 model. The old model, 8,700 pounds. The 2015 model, 9,000 pounds, which is certainly enough to tow a good size horse trailer if you're into horses. The steering feels alive in my hands. Okay, it's not a sports car. It will never be a sports car. But you know what? There's a little bit of fun in this car. It's amazing what more horsepower will do to a performance of any vehicle, and this one certainly has it. It even adds speed when I floor it. Oh yeah, the car kind of lifts itself up and gives you that, let's go and party, let's have a little bit of fun. And best of all, you don't feel guilty about it because, well, it's not using any more fuel. In fact, it's using less fuel. It's got better fuel economy, so kudos to Ford for doing that. Now, do you think customers will be disappointed that there isn't an 8-cylinder option?
You know, here's the thing, it's about delivery of the numbers.
Yeah.
And one of the other numbers we haven't talked about is for the 4x2 short wheelbase, we're delivering best-in-class fuel economy of 60 mile per gallon in the city and 22 mile per gallon on the highway for a combined 18 mile per gallon. When you think about towing capability, it's delivering best-in-class towing capability at 9,000 pounds. When you think about those kinds of things and the ride experience, it's got an independent rear suspension.
One of the new technology features of the 2015 is it's got 3 different drive control modes. In other words, you can change the magnetic suspension from normal to comfortable to sport. So let's put it in sport and let's see how much more playful this Navigator gets. And it's really hard to tell on a flat road. I love Louisville and I love the beautiful area around here, but boy, we need some windy roads to get a sense for it. Let's see if I do that. It feels a little bit more dampened. Let me go to Comfort here, which is the soft one. Oh yeah, I'm getting a little seasick there. So yeah, there is a difference. I was lucky enough to recently review the Ford Expedition with Nathan, and obviously this car is based on that same vehicle. Now, the interior of this is basically an Expedition, but a premium version of it. All the materials are soft. There's wood on the steering wheel. There is fine leather everywhere, and normally where you'd have hard plastics, here, they're soft to the touch. Is it revolutionary? No, but is it stylish and elegant? You bet. Let's recap. The 2015 model, compared to the outgoing model, is more powerful. It tows more, it's more stylish, it has a nicer interior, and it's just an all-around better car. Of course, it's also more expensive, $6,000 more expensive than that car, but you get a lot more stuff that's packaged into that price point. Lincoln will tell you that it's still cheaper than an Escalade. So, on the TFL scale of buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, I'm gonna have to say, once again, I don't know. I've only been behind the wheel for a few minutes, so you'll have to wait until we get it in Colorado for a full review. And as always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Thanks for watching one of our very first and very real matchup reviews. Check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, reviews. Ciao.